Senator, it's Drew Steele. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Good morning.
It's good to talk to you again. Interesting news over the weekend now, and even overnight. It's now official as Ted Cruz decides he's running for president of the United States. A lot of questions come to mind. The first question would be your reaction to that, and does that change your timetable at all?
It doesn't change my timetable. I'm not surprised that Ted's going to run. It's something he's obviously looked at very strongly. He's generated a lot of attention and excitement over the last few years in the Senate, so I think he'll be a very strong candidate, and we're going to have a very strong field. I think there's going to be a number of other people over the next few weeks get in, and as Republicans, I think we're blessed to have such a large number of quality, talented people who are willing to compete for the highest office in the land, and from that competition, I think we're going to have a great nominee. So I'm obviously exploring it myself, haven't made a final decision or announcement, but we're getting close to that point, and either way, I think we're going to be in good hands.
Yeah, and he mentions courageous conservatives, and that is something that obviously here in Southwest Florida and my listeners are so concerned about. They really understand establishment and conservatives. They see that difference. They feel the difference. They see it in leadership. Do you look at the same thing as he talks about conservatism? I mean, first and foremost, that's what you want to run on, correct?
Yeah, look, I think there's constantly a battle at some point among some in our party, I should say, who are embarrassed about the grassroots, or are embarrassed by and they have no reason to be, but they're embarrassed by the grassroots or conservatism elements of our party, and you can see it in their body language and the way they discuss the issue. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. And on the contrary, we should be proud of the fact that we have millions and millions of everyday Americans who have no financial interest in government other than having a country that's well-run and secure for their future. And what they believe in is nothing out of the ordinary or anything. It's a mainstream position in America. They want our government not to spend money it doesn't have. They want America to have the most powerful military in the world. They want a government that doesn't do what it's not supposed to be doing and limit its activities to the important things that government should be doing. So, as I said, there is that divide to some point, and it's unfortunate, but I think we're going to be able to bridge that here in the 2016 elections. I think that's really our challenge, is to bring the entire party together, every element of it, to work together.
Are you happy? Are you satisfied with the Republican leadership in Congress?
Look, I think they're doing the best they can under difficult circumstances from time to time. I wish we were moving a little quicker on some of the issues that matter, but we have to also understand the way the system is designed. Our system of checks and balances is not designed to move quickly. It moves slowly by design because the founders never anticipated that the federal government would be as involved in as many things as it's supposed to be involved in. So, anyway, as I said, that it's an interesting dynamic, and we got to keep working through it.
Senator Marco Rubio joining us this morning on Daybreak 92.5 Fox News. You see what's happening with obviously Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu against this administration. Even the news out by one pollster who said the president had a bigger role in the election than previously reported. Are you concerned right now with what's happening as we move forward, this dangerous point that we are between this country and Israel, and because of this administration?
I'm incredibly worried about the direction of our country in terms of its relationship with Israel. As I said, Israel's security has long depended on two strong pillars: its ability to defend itself, but also its ability, which is unquestioned, but also America's willingness to help Israel if Israel got into trouble, not with soldiers or our own attack aircraft, but by resupplying them, etc. There is significant doubt about that second pillar, and I think that puts Israel's security at danger because its enemies feel emboldened about it.
Yeah, and especially some of the comments that we see coming out of Iran. I mean, it really is mind-boggling, Senator, when you have the president the day after he's urging Iran to seize a historic opportunity, and what happens? You have Khomeini coming out calling death to America. It really does, for a lot of people, show, unfortunately, which side this president, this administration is on, even knowing that that's what's happening in Iran. How could he stand up and look at this as an opportunity?
Yeah, as I said, I mean, it's really baffling kind of the direction that they've taken in all of this. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me as to what it is that we are suddenly now, we're basically, he's treating he's now treating the Ayatollah, the supreme leader in Iran, with more respect than he's treating the Prime Minister of Israel.
Yeah.
It makes no sense whatsoever. And it sets a terrible condition, terrible precedent, very dangerous precedent that I think emboldens Israel's enemies to potentially take action against Israel, believing there'll be no consequences from this country for it.
Senator Marco Rubio joining us this morning on Daybreak 92.5 Fox News. I've got to ask you about what's happening with Cuba right now. Some of the news, Cuba flirting with free speech and experimenting with an online version of Glasnost. And, are you still disappointed with what's happening right now with the situation in Cuba, obviously, with what's happening in Venezuela as well, and the connection there, and what this administration is doing with regards to Cuba?
Yeah, there is no opening in Cuba to any free speech of any sort. I mean, a lot of these things are cosmetic; they're designed for public consumption. But the truth is that the Cuban government cannot survive any sort of opening. They can't politically survive it. People would rebel against them, and so they know that. So they're trying to do as much as they can to engender goodwill without endangering the grip of that regime on the island. So, as I said, this is in my mind. You're not going to see much of a difference here on anything change. I am disappointed because we've lost some leverage, significant amount of leverage, due to the decisions that the president's made. I'm all for changing our relationship towards Cuba, but only when the Cuban government changes its relationship towards its own people. We should not be rewarding them for being a democracy, for not being a democracy. We should not be rewarding them for being a totalitarian dictatorship, and an anti-American one at that.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at how here in Southwest Florida, and you see some of the news stories around the state, and how, it's wonderful. It's like going back in time. You won't believe it when you see it. Cuban cigars. Like, this is what we're supposed to be excited about. Like, the fact that I'm going to get Cuban cigars is supposed to be a reason why I'm supposed to embolden the regime that's there. Sometimes I think that's what people believe. They don't understand what is happening underneath all of this.
Yeah, I've always found that troubling as well. Cuba's treated almost like a museum or a zoo where you get to go visit and see all these people that are behind cages, basically, which is what they are here. They're being held, many of whom are being held in against their will on the island because they would much rather be reunited with family somewhere else. Others who are there but cannot speak clearly what they want. I mean, you can't organize a political party or speak your mind in Cuba about anything you want. There's no freedom. And again, I'm not arguing that every American needs to become an activist for freedom in Cuba. Ultimately, Cuba's freedom is up to Cuba's people. But you shouldn't ignore it or turn a blind eye to it when you visit there and act like somehow Cuba's this wonderful paradise country and ignore the plight that its own people are living. There's no freedom. There's no free speech. There's no freedom of assembly or association. It's a total totalitarian dictatorship.
Yeah. Senator Marco Rubio joining us for a few minutes this morning on Daybreak 92.5 Fox News. Listen, I always appreciate having you on, and I know you've got to run, but we'll talk soon, hopefully. And maybe the next time we speak with you, it'll be under circumstances that, who knows, maybe you might be running for a higher office. We'd like to hear that.
That's right. We'll make a firm decision here very soon, and we'll make sure to be back.
Good. All right. Fantastic. All right. Senator Marco Rubio joining us this morning on Daybreak. All right, sir. Good to talk to you.
Thank you.